Hi everybody, Matthew Turnage here. Before I get started today, I'd just like to say thank you to all my viewers and subscribers. The channel's been growing a bit lately, and I'm just gratified that people are watching and hopefully enjoying these videos. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who takes the time to tune in. Well, as I've been enjoying the Plastic Ono Band Super Deluxe box set, I thought this might be a good time to go back through John's entire solo catalog and rank the albums. Now, I haven't gotten around to getting all of his albums on vinyl, so I'm going to be showing the CDs as I go through them. And we're going to rank just the standard studio albums that John did, both as a solo artist and, of course, in collaboration with Yoko. We won't be counting the experimental stuff, the unfinished music albums, that sort of thing. So we'll start off with number 8, and that's going to be Sometime in New York City. It's pretty common to have a low ranking for this one, I think, in people's list of John's solo catalog. I don't think it's a bad album. A few of the songs I do like. Stuff like John Sinclair is okay. New York City is a great song. It's probably the best song on here. Sunday Bloody Sunday, I think, is pretty good. Attica State is okay. But then there are songs like Angela. The lyrics seem so kind of forced and awkward. And of course, as the cover design shows, this is John's phase of trying to go for like the newspaper effect. The idea that the songs are talking about things happening right now. But I think what John forgot about was after people read the newspaper, they throw it away. You tend to move on and leave it behind. I think an album, you want something a little more permanent and timeless. The live jam disc is okay. I think probably the most interesting stuff is some of the stuff with Frank Zappa, although Yoko's screeching does tend to wear on after a bit. So that's number 8. Number 7, I'm going to go with Rock and Roll. It's a good cover album. I think John did a good job of picking the songs. The Phil Spector produced tracks to me are a little bit overdone. And there's just not, you can't help but, or at least I can't help but compare this album to the rock and roll covers that the Beatles did earlier in their career. And John just on those seemed to have a lot more fire and passion than he shows on here. But it's still, I think he does a good job. He acquits himself well. And if it wasn't for kind of Spector overproducing his tracks a bit, it might be slightly higher, 1 or 2 spots higher. Number 6, Milk and Honey. Of course, John's posthumous release of the tracks that were finished along with Yoko's songs after he died. It's a pretty good collection. There's a couple of great songs on here. I like the first track. I'm stepping out a good bit. Nobody Told Me is a great song. Forgive Me, My Little Flower Princess. So there's some good songs on here, and I like some of Yoko's songs on here. Oh Sanity is kind of an interesting little short piece. You're the One is a good one. Your Hands I like a lot too. So Yoko does well in this one too, but it doesn't really have quite the number of like super outstanding tracks on here as some of the other ones, which is why it comes in 6, but it's still a really good album. All right, number 5 is going to be Mind Games, and I really enjoy this album too. The title track, of course, is great. Tight As. There's several great songs on here. Bring on the Lucy, Free to People. I like that one a lot. There's the Utopian International Anthem. Meat City. I know. It's a really good album. It's sort of a transitional phase for John in his personal life, but I think he comes up with some good songs. I think just on the whole, it doesn't hold together as well as the ones that I've got ranked above it. All right, number 4 is going to be Double Fantasy. My CD copy here is the stripped down version, so that's why I've got my vinyl behind it. Show the original cover art, but this, I think John really came out with some really great stuff after his long layoff from the music industry. I say long layoff, 5 years in between albums is not unheard of these days. But it's got 3 of John's absolutely best solo songs on here for me, with Beautiful Boy, Darling Boy. Of course, Paul picked this as one of his Desert Island tracks. It's such a great song and great melody. John did a really great job with that one. Woman is another really great song. Of course, that was a huge hit, and my favorite one, and I think one of the best songs John ever did in his solo career, Watching the Wheels. So to me, that's the one that really should have been the huge hit on this album. But and I love the lyrics to that one. It's such a great song. But the rest of John's songs are great on here too. I love Dear Yoko, and I like a lot of Yoko's songs on here, especially. I love I'm Losing You and I'm Moving On. That seems to be where the dialogue aspect of the album works the best. So those are both great tracks. And we even got, in lieu of Paul no longer collaborating with John, we get Yoko providing the granny music on this one with Yes, I'm Your Angel. I always like that song. And then number 3 is going to be the aforementioned Plastic Ono Band. This is an album that, for a lot of the time that I've had this, has been an album more perhaps that I appreciate rather than one that I enjoy, if that makes sense. It can be at times hard to listen to because John is so raw with his emotions and things. But there's several, of course, great tracks on here. Mother, I Found Out is one that I really like a lot. Isolation, Remember, Well, Well, Well. Those are some of my favorite ones on here. Look at Me. So it's a really good album, but it's not one that I'm going to listen to a lot, and so that kind of holds it down in my personal ranking. But John did really come out with a very strong statement coming out of the Beatles breakup. So Plastic Ono Band is my number 3. Number 2 is going to be Imagine. Of course, this is the album now that everybody associates so much with John, or the title track anyway. And the title track is good. I think it's a little overdone, perhaps a little simplistic in its message. It's never been one of my favorites, to be honest, although I do like the piano lick in it. But this album has some other songs that are absolute favorites of mine. Jealous Guy is one of the best songs that John ever did as a solo artist. Well, one of the best songs he ever did, full stop, really. I love that song. You've got Crippled Inside is a great tune on here. One of the songs that people seem to rate low on this album that I totally love is I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, Mama, I Don't Want to Die. It's got such a great groove to it. Klaus Vormann's bass just lays down such a great groove, and then the slide guitar over it from George and John singing. I think it's great. Oh Yoko is one of my favorites too. So number 2 is Imagine. And of course that means number 1, Walls and Bridges. I think this is a great album. I think John really, even though he was going through a lot of turmoil without Yoko and during the Lost Weekend period, he comes up with some really good stuff. I think some of that fuels some really great songs on here, like Going Down on Love, What You Got, Bless You. I mean, those are such great songs. And then, of course, his relationship with May Pang, inspiring Surprise, Surprise, Sweet Bird of Paradox, Still in Glass is a great song. Whatever Gets You Through the Night, of course, the huge hit that made this album. But Old Dirt Road and Scared and Number 9 Dream, those are probably my favorites on here, really. But you can't go wrong with this album. I love every track on this album. So my number one John Lennon album, Walls and Bridges. John's got a really great solo catalog. Of course, the tragedy is that we never got more from him because he was taken so untimely and at such a young age. It's strange to think that I'm older than John ever lived to be. But rather than dwell on what we could have had, I always like to focus on enjoying the stuff that we did get, and we did get a lot of great solo music from John. So there's my rankings of John's solo catalog from 8 to 1. And thanks for watching.